Okay, so we're gonna do senior first, and we're gonna ask first Ayman. To Ayman is senior, it's grade 7, 8, 8. All right. Judges, if you can open your.
You guys hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. It is a great honor and privilege to be here today to inshallah inform and remind you all and me of the importance of staying strong in our Muslim identity. As Muslims living in America, a non-Muslim country, it becomes extremely difficult for us to stay steadfast in our religion and our identity while being constantly influenced and pulled away by our environment and the people around us. And this happens to all of us, at school, at work, at home, when you're watching TV. So this leads many of us, especially us the youth who grew up here, and this country is all we know, to be weak when it comes to our Muslim identity and our pride in being Muslim. This is why our Muslim identity is the most important thing that we must ensure we stay steadfast on. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to remind us all of the importance of our Muslim identity and how we can strengthen and be proud of it. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all the parents and volunteers that are here today, because truly what influences us and our identity the most is our environment. So by coming here to the masjid every Sunday, spending hours of your time, you are exposing the Muslim youth to an environment that strengthens their identity and an environment that gives them a sense of pride and belonging within their Muslim community. May Allah reward you all for your efforts. It is important to remember that our faith and identity as Muslims is a source of strength and guidance in our daily lives. We must remain steadfast in our commitment to the principles of Islam and not compromise our beliefs for the sake of fitting in or conforming to societal pressures. One of the most significant ways we can strengthen our Muslim identity is by making the world know we are Muslims. For this, we have to be strong in our Muslim identity. We shouldn't be scared or embarrassed to show the world that we are Muslim. Our religion is a great source of pride. For the sisters, wear the hijab in public. For the brothers, wear the thawb and Islamic attire. Let everyone know that you are a Muslim and you are proud of it. Just by letting society know that you are Muslim, you have strengthened your Muslim identity and you have increased your pride in Islam. We must also seek the company of other righteous Muslims. For in an authentic hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "A man follows the religion of his friend. So each one should consider whom he makes his friend. It is a fact that whomever we befriend and whomever is in our environment has a very strong influence on us, and we basically become that person. In order to strengthen our Muslim identity, we must make our environment and the people around us people that will support and strengthen us and encourage us in practicing our religion. By coming to the masjid, attending halaqas, going to Islamic events, our environment becomes revolved around Islam, which will strengthen our identity and allow us to have pride in it. I cannot stress enough how important our environment and our community is. It is probably the most significant way we can strengthen our identity. So by being here today in the masjid, you are already strengthening your Muslim identity, putting pride in your heart. It is the most vital component of our identity, so we must continue to engage within our community. In addition, the way we act in public and our kindness and manners we show to others is a strong representation of our Muslim selves. إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم واتقوا الله لعلكم ترحمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hujurat, Ayah 10, the believers are but one brotherhood, so make peace between your brothers. And be mindful of Allah, so you may be shown mercy. Ayah 10, Surah Al-Hujurat. SubhanAllah, whoever shows mercy and kindness for his brothers will have mercy and kindness from Allah. If we want to be good Muslims and are strong in our identity, we must not only do the fard, prayer, fasting, etc., but also have the qualities, the akhlaq of a Muslim. And what is that? That's kindness and mercy. So to conclude, we are a community that is under the pressure of constantly changing societal norms. So it is of utmost importance that we preserve our Muslim identity. As I mentioned, we can do this by making the world know we are Muslim, by engaging and involving ourselves in the Muslim community, and most importantly, by having the manners and qualities of a Muslim. I end with a prayer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us all on the straight path and keeps our iman strong. Ameen. Jazakallah khair to all those who have listened to.
Thank you, Ahmed. That was a beautiful speech. Man is upon the religion of his best friend. Very insightful, right? I think if you can just reflect on that, it says the whole thing. Thank you. So we'll give a couple of minutes to judges, maybe a minute. In the meantime, we can have the second speaker come up here. Muhammad Ihsan. Muhammad Ihsan, you're here? All right. So you can mic up in the meantime. You can. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll do that. By the way, I forgot to mention something. I wanted to welcome for our friends from MCC. So this competition has been two schools, or participants are from two schools. One is from the MCA Weekend School here, and other participants are coming from MCC. So thank you. Ayman was from MCA, and Mohammed Ehsan is also from MCA.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mohammed Ihsan, and today I'm here to talk about how to stay strong in our Muslim identity. We are living in a time where being a Muslim is seen as something strange and weird. We must not let this. We must always defend our religion. We are living in a time of being when there is no need. Iman is when you come to the conclusion yourself that there is one God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This conclusion is so powerful that no amount of criticism or pressure can make you leave this conclusion. When Prophet Ibrahim alayhi wasallam became a Muslim, he faced pressure from his father, community, and the government. But even though he faced all this pressure, he still didn't give up his religion because he came to the conclusion himself. Allah says in the Quran, Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu. This means Allah is a protective friend of those who have Iman. One day, Prophet Muhammad said to his companions, وَلِدْتُ أَنِّي قَدْ رَأَيْتُ إِحْسَانًا. I wish I were to see my brothers. To which his companions replied, أَلَسْتَ إِخْوَانًا? Aren't we your brothers? To which Prophet Muhammad said, you are my companions, my brothers are those who will believe in me and wouldn't have seen me. This shows us that he wanted to meet us and he wanted to see us. Who are we and why should we compromise our Muslim identity? We are Muslims and we shouldn't compromise our Muslim identity for anything or anyone just because of something merely in this dunya. Allah is the one who gave us the ability to think, to speak, and many more things, and anything that's possible. He has given us so many and countless blessings. Allah says in the Quran, Forgetting Allah is like compromising on the principles of Islam, and those who forget Allah, Allah will make them forget themselves. Let's look at some examples of prophets who stood steadfast and stood firm in their Muslim identity. Starting with Prophet Yusuf, when he was blinded by the wife of Aziz, he said, Ma'allah, I seek refuge in Allah. This shows us that he stood firm in his Muslim identity, even when knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. Another example is Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he told his son, Prophet Ismail alayhi salam, of his dreams, to which Prophet Ismail alayhi salam said, O my father, do what you've been commanded to do. This shows us that he stood very, very firm in his Muslim identity, because the dream was about killing Prophet Ismail alayhi salam. We are the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam, so we should try to be more like him in all our daily lives. There will be a time and the time for Salah will come, and you'll be very, very tired. But you still have to go pray in Salah because you have to stand firm in what you believe in. I'm sure you all heard about the earthquake in Turkey. I saw a video which touched my heart about a Turkish woman who was stuck under a building. The rescue team came to help her and asked her to come out. But she wasn't wearing a hijab, so she said she wouldn't come out. So they gave her something to wear, then she put it on, and then she came out. This shows us that even in times of great crisis, you have people who stand firm in the principles of Islam. Inshallah, may Allah forgive our shortcomings and help us stand firm in our Muslim identity. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Muhammad Isaac. Judges. Okay, that was a beautiful speech. I think there was some. Were you able to hear him okay? Yeah. Okay, the next one will line up here. Now the two seniors from MCC will start from Ryan. Come on. All set? Yeah, just
Like this?
Judges ready? I'm ready. Ready?
Start.
Yes, sir.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. We should be proud of our Muslim identity. You may ask, what is our Muslim identity? Our Muslim identity is following the Quran and Sunnah and basically being a righteous servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This includes following the 5 pillars of Islam, saying salam, being honest, not engaging in haram activities, having haya or modesty, doing good deeds, helping others, and so on. The most important part of our Islamic identity is worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and understanding that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his final message. Having a strong Muslim identity also includes knowing the answers to questions that you or others might ask you. Let's say you're in your school hallway and someone comes up to you and says Islam is ancient, women have no rights in Islam, or something along those lines. You need to know how to answer the person and defend their religion and beliefs. If someone makes fun of our faith, we shouldn't be embarrassed. We should remain proud and confident about our faith. Keep in mind that we are ambassadors of Islam and should portray our deen in a positive way whenever we interact with people. We should not sacrifice our own values to please others. In Surah As-Saf, Ayah 8, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ مُتِمُّ نُورِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ.
This ayah translates to the disbelievers trying to extinguish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's light, but Allah preserves it. In other words, the disbelievers will try to hinder the progress of Islam, but they will ultimately not succeed. Allah will give us success if we are proud of our Muslim identity in public. In a lecture, I heard a story about a man who used to pray every day to God. On one occasion, his manager saw him and asked him what he was doing. He said that he was praying. His manager responded by saying that he didn't allow religious expression at the workspace and that the man would have to stop doing his salah at the office. The man responded that he quit since his religion was more important than his job. He received a job offer with a higher salary a few days later. This just shows how if you sacrifice something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will reward you with something better. For instance, you should do salah at school, if possible, even if you'll be bullied for it. The situation that we are currently in greatly resembles what the Muslims were facing in Mecca before the Hijrah. The first man to recite the Quran in public was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. At the time, it was banned to recite the Quran in public. Disbelievers of Mecca beat him up until he was left unconscious. When he woke up and found himself being treated by his fellow believers, he said that he would do it again the next day. If Abdullah ibn Mas'ud wasn't afraid of being beaten up, if Abdullah ibn Mas'ud wasn't afraid of reciting the Quran in public when it was banned, why should we be afraid of simply showcasing our Muslim identity in public? If Abdullah ibn Mas'ud wasn't afraid of being beaten up, why should we be afraid of being bullied or taunted for showcasing our Muslim identity in public? During an MCC Sunday School assembly, a speaker stated that we should keep in mind that we are proud of our way and we don't care what others say. In Surah Al-Mutaffifin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا كَانُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَضْحَكُونَ. This ayah translates to the disbelievers used to laugh at the believers. You may be ridiculed, oppressed, or looked down on for showcasing your Muslim identities. When this happens, keep in mind that Surah Al-Mutaffifin also says, فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ. This ayah translates to on the day of judgment, the believers will be the ones laughing at the disbelievers. In conclusion, we should be proud of our Muslim identities and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us for doing so. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Raya. Beautiful reminders. Very simple. He reminded us, Alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. We are all Muslims. Just being Muslims, then he says that we are ambassadors of Islam. If you again just reflect on that, that means whatever we do in our daily lives, right? That's going to reflect not only upon us as an individual, but at our religion too. So thank you for the reminder. Next one we have Mahdi. Yes, Mahdi is Sikandar. Sikdar. Yes. Thank you. Again, we are still at the senior level. Judges already.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, respected judges and dear audience. Imagine standing in the middle of a river where the currents are trying to knock you over. If you lose your footing for even a moment, the currents will overwhelm you, and you may be lost forever. My name is Mahdi Sikjar, and I might have been born here in the United States, or I am first a Muslim and then an American. Staying strong in our Muslim identity in this fast-paced and ever-changing society can be like standing in the middle of a river. As we grow older, it may be harder to retain our Islamic identity. We may face discrimination that could intimidate us into hiding or changing our Muslim identities. We are expected to conform to the norms of American society to the point where we are pushing or violating the boundaries of our religion. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with several methods with which we Muslims will be able to, inshallah, keep on the right path. First, let me tell you how I've kept my Islamic identity strong. I've been very blessed to have been born into a family with very strong Islamic values. I pray 5 times a day, even dragging myself out of bed to pray Fajr. My family teaches me to be immensely proud of Islam, from our numerous prophets to the great innovators and scholars of Islam. I'm not afraid to follow my religion, and I don't care what anyone says about it. At school, I'm not afraid to tell anyone that I'm a Muslim. I pray at school, leading Salatul Jummah among my Muslim friends. We should never be afraid to follow our religion, no matter what anyone thinks, because the only opinion that matters is that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a high opinion of those Muslims who work to make their Muslim identity stronger. We can do this through regular prayer and reading the Quran. Regularly praying and reading the Quran are essential for keeping with our Muslim identities. These practices will help to remind us of our purpose here in this world. These practices will also help to establish a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and keep our focus on the spiritual aspect of our lives. The Quran says on this matter, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Indeed, those who believe and do righteous deeds and establish prayer and give zakah will have their reward with their Lord, and there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. Surah Baqarah, ayat 277. This ayat assures us that those of us who are righteous people, who pray and give zakah, will be amply rewarded with all that is good by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we grow more consistent with our prayer and recitation of the Quran, we will, inshallah, grow our virtue and become more confident in ourselves and our Islamic identity. Lastly, one of the best ways to stay strong in our Muslim identity is to educate ourselves about our faith and its teachings. This can be done in a variety of ways. The Friday khutbah is one of the best ways to connect and learn about Islam. The purpose of the Friday khutbah is to remind us of our responsibilities here in this world and to promote good in our lives. Not only does attending the Friday khutbah help us learn about Islam, it is also incredibly rewarding. According to At-Tirmidhi, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Whoever washes his head and his body on Friday, then sets out early, is present at the beginning of the khutbah and is close to the imam, then listens attentively. For every step he takes, he will have the reward of fasting and praying qiyam for 1 year." We can also educate ourselves about our religion by reading books and articles, attending lectures or workshops, or even studying with a knowledgeable teacher or mentor. Obviously, the most important book to learn about Islam is the Quran. The Quran is the word of God, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and contains many things, such as laws and commandments, moral guidance, how to live your day-to-day life, and more. I want to conclude with one last point. Our Muslim identity not only reflects our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also our relationship with others. We must work on our Muslim identities, both internally, by being confident in ourselves and our faith, and externally, by being consistent with our prayers, recitation of the Quran, and learning about Islam. The path to Jannah is a long one, but it is one that rewards us greatly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. Our Lord, bestow on us mercy from yourself, and facilitate for us our affairs in the right way. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Mary. Right on time. His opening was beautiful. The rest of a lot of good reminders. But just reflecting on what he said. if you are standing in a river with heavy currents, this is how our life is. Can we get our foothold strong enough that we can stand tall with our identity? There are a lot of things being thrown at us every day. Another thing he said, he's a good inspiration for a lot of us. Praying 5 times and Fajr. Fajr is typically the most difficult one. But thank you for the reminder. Judges, so actually Kamal, maybe he's the last one of the 4 seniors. So I think we're done with the senior round, and we are gonna next go to the junior level, and the junior level topic is yes, the junior level topic. Anyone remembers? Yes. Yes. My parents, my gateway to Jannah. We all want to go to Jannah, inshallah. And we know the gateway. So, judges all ready?
I can only see my screen.
Okay, so we are going to start with the junior. The first junior that we are going to start with is Hafsa. And Hafsa is from MCC. Welcome, Hafsa. Yeah, so you don't need to use the podium if you want to hold it. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hafsa Firdaus. I go to MCC Sunday School and I'm in 4th grade. My topic is my parents and my gateway to Jannah. Your parents have given you so much. They have raised you, so you need to treat them with kindness and respect. A hadith said by Prophet Muhammad says, one who is obedient toward his parents and his Lord shall be accommodated in the most exalted of places on the day of judgment. You should always make dua and pray for your parents and respect them, so never call them by their first name. Whenever you are talking to your parents, you should choose your words wisely and don't raise your voice over them in general. You should speak gently and kindly to them. Another form of good manners is to walk behind them unless you have to clear the path. Whenever your parents ask you to do something, you should do it immediately, and if they call for you, you should respond instantly. Don't continuously bring up events from the past that make them feel uncomfortable. Don't talk about painful moments that have happened. If you disobey your parents, that means you won't get into paradise. Taking care of your parents is one of the highest deeds you will ever perform. Listen carefully to what your parents have to say and wait until they finish talking to talk. Ask Allah to forgive your parents and to help and guide them on the right path. There are also many du'as you can learn for your parents. You can say these du'as during prayer, in the night, or any time of day. Another form of good deed is to sit respectfully in front of your parents and don't talk harshly to them because it can make them feel bad. And you should also honor your parents by putting their needs first and making sure that you are treating them kindly and that they are happy. Whenever you are sharing something with your parents, be sure to only share the pleasant things with them and keep the unpleasant things away from them. You should also treat and respect your parents as your elders and always pray for their health and safety. And don't laugh at them if they make a mistake. Overall, if you love your parents, you will go to paradise. They love you and you should love them. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Hafsa. It was very, very nice. It's always a good reminder. Listen carefully to your parents. right? Don't talk to them harshly. Anyone talks to their parents harshly? You do? Oh, so what did you learn from this speech? Don't do that. Be nice. Again, I'm going to repeat. We want to go to Jannah, right? Everyone wants to go to Jannah.
Absolutely, inshallah.
So we are shown a gateway here. All right. That was Hafsa. Next one up here. We will do Faizan. Oh, all right, Faizan. Let's see what you're going to say.
Too
To go?
low. Yeah.
Really? Yes.
All right, it's confession time. Do you ever fight with your parents? I do. I do a lot. That is why my brother thinks that what I'm going to say today is poetic justice. This topic and the lessons I learned has been an eye-opener for me. And I'm sure it'll be the same for many of you. Hi, my name is Faisal. Assalamu alaikum. And today I'm going to talk about the topic my parents, my gateway to Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet teach us that this is very important in life. The Prophet ﷺ once said, the best of the deeds is the prayer at its proper time and the kindness to parents. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that being good to parents is as important as salah. This is the key takeaway for us. Being good to parents is one of the best deeds out there, and it is our gateway to Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ also said, one who follows Allah with regards to obeying his parents will have two doors of Jannah opened up for him. Here are 3 ways how you can be good to your parents. Number 1, be kind to them. Number 2, respect them. And number 3, obey them. Number 1, be kind to them. Being kind to your parents means being nice to them, smiling at them, and talking to them. In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that smiling kindly at your parents is as though you are done the Hajj. Number 2, respect them. As I mentioned before, being good to parents is as important as salah. And as we treat salah with respect, we should do the same with our parents. For your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him and honor your parents. If one or both of them reaches old age in your care, shall not say to them even, ugh, nor yell at them. Rather address them with respect. In this ayah of Surah Isra, we can learn 3 things. Number 1, don't say mean things to your parents. Number 2, don't yell at your parents. And number 3, obey your parents. Now, give ihsan to your parents. Ihsan means that you give everything you possibly can without expecting anything back in return. Number 3, obey them. In the story of Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail, Prophet Ibrahim told Ismail that he needed to sacrifice him for the sake of Allah. Ismail answered yes, without any questions or complaints, because he had faith in his father and in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what if our parents ask us to do something bad? Should we still treat them nicely? The answer is yes. An example is with Prophet Ibrahim when his father was ready to kill him for destroying the idols and abandoning the pagan religion. Ibrahim, instead of getting mad or losing control, merely prayed to Allah to guide his father to the right path. To conclude, being good to parents is one of the best deeds out there, and it is our gateway to Jannah. How can we be good to our parents? Number 1, be kind to them. Number 2, respect them. And number 3, obey them. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, say MashaAllah.
Wow.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Yes. So when he started that he say he's always fighting and but being kind, being nice to parents. I did not know that smiling to your parents is like equivalent to a Hajj. Yeah, very nice. And then we always talk about Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. And you give a beautiful example of Ihsan. Ihsan is to do good without expecting anything in return. Thank you. Jazakallah khairan. Okay, so next one I'm going to invite here Zainab. No, sorry. Shiza. Shiza. Yeah. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. My name is Shiza Fatima and I am 10 years old. I come from MCC Sunday School. Today I am here to talk about a beautiful topic. My parents, my gateway to Jannah. I have a treasure and it is the sweetest and best creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This treasure has been with me in every step of my growth. Can you all guess what this treasure can be? My treasure is none other than my lovely parents. My parents are my biggest treasure, without which I cannot succeed. I feel their love for me is purest. Alhamdulillah. From the time I was born, my parents nurtured me with love, supported me whenever I was going through something, and most importantly, prayed for me. No one in this world can be as great as our parents. They only wish good for us and expect nothing in return. Their love is the purest you can find on this earth. Alhamdulillah for this blessing. All religions and societies teach being good to parents, but Islam commands us to honor our parents, to respect them, and to be kind to them. The Quran and Sunnah contain many instructions about how to behave well with family members. Healthy family ties begin with righteousness towards our parents. Allah mentions in many verses to be excellent to our parents. Allah mentions about parents at least 15 times in the Quran. So for this reason, Allah commands us to treat our parents with respect. As a result, they have authority above us. We should always appreciate your parents because we do not know what sacrifices they have made for you. Allah says in Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 36, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا. Worship Allah and associate nothing with Him and be good to parents. In the Quran, Allah commands us to treat our parents with respect. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ reportedly instructed his companions to take good care of their parents. According to a hadith of Sahih Muslim, Abu Hurairah reported that a person said, O Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who amongst the people is most deserving of my good treatment? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ replied, your mother, again your mother, again your mother, then your father, then your nearest relatives. Okay, so let's ask ourselves a question. How can we make use of this chance to go to Jannah? Let's put on our thinking hats. Well, my Baba and Mom have taught me some good deeds which can help me be my gateway to Jannah. You can also try following these deeds. First, show respect and be kind. In the Quran, Allah commands us not to utter even the tiniest rude comments towards our parents. Even saying up to them is inappropriate. 2, be obedient. You should always be obedient to your parents. 3, make them smile. 4, seek their du'as. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, 3 supplications are answered without doubt: the supplication of the oppressed, the supplication of the traveler, and the supplication of the parent. 5. Make dua for them. One of the most beautiful ways of showing love to your parents is to make dua for them. I make it a point to recite this dua after every salah, which I learned in Sunday school. رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. My Lord, have mercy upon them as they brought me up when I was small. You can be a billionaire, but you can never pay back the favors upon you by your parents. In conclusion, I believe parents are the sweetest creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should always avail the benefit of entering Jannah through this shortcut. I can go on, and still the pages will come short. Last but not least, please do make dua for them after every salah. May Allah make us among the ones who we love and make us serve our parents in the best way. Ameen. Thank you for listening to my speech. Jazakallahu khair.
Thank you. There was Jiza. Shiza? Yes, Shiza, sorry. Very, very nice. What she said, few things. The sweetest gift from Allah, right? And we're talking about earlier, don't talk harsh words, be nice to them, to the extent don't even say the word oof. So are the kids listening? Yes? Don't even say oof, that I'm sick of you. Right? And then she actually used something very nice that I didn't think about, that our parents are sort of a shortcut for us to get to the Jannah. Inshallah. Jazakallah khair for that reminder and putting it in that perspective. Already there? Okay. So that was, I think we are done with the junior level. Laiba, yes, sorry. Okay, Laiba is next. Laiba, you can come up here. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Laiba Khan and I'm in 3rd grade. Parents' Gateway to Jannah. Parents are a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us. Today I'm going to talk about our relationship with our parents. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِندَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُل لَّهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُل لَّهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Upon a believer are 2 rights. First, the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And second, the right of people. The right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to worship Him alone and obey His commands. But among all the people around us, the greatest right upon us is the right of our parents. So right after making us recognize His right upon us, the very next thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions is وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Be in the best of your behavior in front of your parents. Do not even show the slightest of discomfort, and do not raise your voice at them. Words coming out of your mouth should be Kareem. Not only our speech, but our body language should show humbleness and gratitude. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions good dealings of prophets with their parents. In Surah Maryam, ayah 43 to 46, we could see how Ibrahim alayhi salam spoke to his father out of love and compassion. Ibrahim alayhi salam spoke to his father in the most compassionate and loving way. Ya Abati, oh my dear beloved father, even though his father was rough, stubborn, and threatened to stone him. The only words his son could say was Qala salamun alayk. He replied to his father, peace be upon you, Dad. A person who is kind to their parents becomes near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know this from a beautiful narration. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once told Umar radiallahu anhu that a man named Uwais would come from the tribe of Qarn from Yemen. And when he comes, you go meet him and ask him to make dua for your forgiveness. We all know the status of Umar radiallahu anhu. The Mubashir bil Jannah, the second Khalifa, was told to go and meet Uwais Qarn for his forgiveness. But why? Because Uwais Qarn dedicated himself to taking care of his mother. He was so tied up with the responsibility of his mother that he could not come to meet Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his lifetime. This made him valuable near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. SubhanAllah, the dua of a mother could get you the mention of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as in the story of Uwais. More than all of that, it can bring barakah in your life and acceptance into your hereafter, ways nothing else can. Disobeying our parents is one of the major sins. On the other hand, virtues of being kind to your parents increases our risk. Forgiveness of major sins and calamities are averted. Through all of this, we learn that we should create opportunities in our lives to make them happy, such that to make dua for us in the future to open the doors of Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all to respect our parents. Ameen. Jazakallah khair for listening.
Thank you, Laiba. MashaAllah. Very inspiring. I think some of the other kids, when they talk about that, you need to be nice to the parents, and sometimes we are harsh to the parents. But it's the other way true too. Parents may be harsh to the kids.
Very much so.
And this is what the example she gave, that Prophet Ibrahim, when he was talking to his, he was very rough with him. And what he said, peace be upon you. And he was very nice to his parents. So I think those are the little things that we can reflect on. Very profound. Thank you. Thank you, Laiba. So I think we're done with the junior, and we're going to move on to the intermediate level. And with the first one from intermediate is Zainab. Zainab, all right. And the topic for intermediate is Surah Luqman. Yes, the lessons from Surah Luqman. Just keep it on.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Zainab Firdaus and I'm from MCC Sunday School. I'm in 6th grade and my topic is Surah Luqman. In this surah, there's a wise man named Luqman alayhi salam teaching his son about the virtues, morals, and teachings of Islam. In Ayah 4, for example, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون. Means that if you praise Allah, pay zakat, and have sure faith in the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you Jannah. From this ayah, we know that if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His message, and you strive to follow His commandments, in this dunya you will be among those of the paradise in the akhirah. The teachings of Luqman alayhi salam are acts of ibadah and adab towards others. In ayah 14 it says, "We've commanded you to be grateful to your parents, for your mothers have bore hardship upon hardship, so be grateful to me and your parents." The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, "One who has pleased his parents has really pleased Allah, and one who has angered his parents has really angered Allah." Your parents have raised and nurtured you for many years. They deserve your utmost respect and honor. So whenever you speak to your parents, talk to them in a gentle manner and treat them with kindness. It is one of the most important practices of Islam. In Ayah 16, for instance, it says, "Even if there were a deed the way of a mustard seed, hidden under a rock in the heavens or the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will find it." This shows us that no matter what you do to hide something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He would find it. If we refer to a common and famous saying that is also among the many ayahs of the Quran, one who does an atom's worth of evil will see it, and one who does an atom's worth of good will see it. This shows us that even if your good deeds are small, you will see it. And even if your bad deeds are small, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will acknowledge them. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, "Action is but by the intention, and every man will receive of what he intends." This shows us that even the smallest of good deeds can be raised on the day of judgment because of their sincere intention. Luqman alayhi salam also teaches his son to establish prayer. The first thing that you will be asked upon on the day of judgment is your prayer. The thing that separates a believer from a disbeliever is the prayer. Your prayer is a way to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all our prayers complete and perfected. At the end of the day, you should ask yourself, what have I done to please Allah? And what can I improve on? No one is perfect, of course, but if we try, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will acknowledge that. The next time you stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in salah, really try to connect with Him because He's there to listen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a lot of teachings in this surah, the teachings of a wise, noble man. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with Luqman alayhi salam. I have helped you see some of the countless teachings of His. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, sorry.
I can give it to you after. Thank you, Zainab. Inspiring again. I think we hear all the time, any deed, small or big, and especially small one, 8 atoms weight, is as small as you cannot even see. And based on our intention, we will be accounted for, of course. So sometimes maybe, we look at things very small and we ignore them. So it's a good reminder that we need to be careful all the time. And the other one that she said is Luqman was teaching his son to establish prayer. Always a good reminder all the time. So thank you for that. The next one we have is from intermediate level, Jaza. Jaza Abbas, all right. Oh,
Yeah, Jaza.
Jaza Abbas. So for example, put it in here. So lift it up.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to be sharing about the lessons of Surah Luqman. Surah Luqman is named after a very wise man. Some narrations say that this man, Luqman, was not a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and certainly we gain wisdom to Luqman by saying, be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whoever is grateful, he is grateful for his own soul, and whoever is ungrateful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is surely self-sufficient to praise. We should make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for knowledge as well as wisdom. Wisdom is knowing how to use the knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to remember the advice of Luqman when he was teaching his son. He said, Ya bunayya, O my young son. He spoke to his son with lots of love, yet he was giving him a powerful message. The message was first, to never associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is shirk. Shirk is the worst sin a person can commit. Second, to be good and respect your parents. Be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and them. Your parents are a test for you. Appreciate the pain of your mother and the sacrifice of your parents. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, be grateful to me and them. To me is the eventual coming. If your parents are telling you to do something that is against the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then do not listen to them, but you should still treat them kindly. Thirdly, follow the path of those who have turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the end, you will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will inform you of what you did. We should also not raise our voices because this is bad manner. When Luqman was advising his son, he mentioned prayer. Prayer is the first thing that we will be asked on the Day of Judgment and is the most important of deeds. We should also make dua for wisdom. Gratitude leads to humility, and humility leads to good body language. After fixing our body language, we need to fix the way we communicate. Be truthful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ends the words of Surah Luqman by saying the worst sound is a loud and harsh cry of a donkey. It is not enough to be good on the outside. Being good on the inside is important too. We should also never commit sins because no matter how small a bad deed we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. But the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Luqman the wise is because what he said had so much wisdom in it. So we need to reflect on these beautiful verses and let it penetrate into our hearts in order to act upon it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to follow the advice of Luqman. And Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. So body language is not just what we may be thinking internally. We may be very nice, but our body language is not showing it. That may not come out as other person may easily get hurt. So I think it's a good reminder for us. Thank you, Jaza. And Jazakallah khair. The next one will be Norm Amish.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Amish Mansuri. I'm from level 6A from MCC Sunday School. Today I'll be talking about the practical lessons that we can learn from Surah Luqman. This surah includes some teachings that Luqman al-Salam gives to his son. These teachings are very important and still relevant and beneficial to us today. We should follow and apply all of these teachings in our everyday life. Surah Al-Quran was revealed in the last years of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu residence in Mecca. I will only be covering some of the advice Luqman gave to his son because of our limited time together. But I hope that you all will gain something beneficial out of these few important pieces of advice. To not associate anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing and all seeing, to never walk with pride upon the earth, and to have a gentle voice. In Ayah 13 of Surah Luqman, Luqman tells his son about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's holiness. He says, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لَبِيهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. And remember when Luqman said to his son while advising him, "O my dear son, never associate anything with Allah in worship, for associating others with him is truly the worst of all wrongs." One warning that Luqman gave to his son was to never associate anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Associating anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a great sin, also known as shirk. We should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is creator and there is no God except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's great reward for those who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For those who don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is great punishment. We should remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything in this universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything in the universe, from the heavens to the earth. So we must worship Him and only Him. Or we will be participating in the greatest of sins, shirk. Luqman himself also told his son that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees, hears, and knows all. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Alim, all-hearing and all-knowing. This is illustrated in Surah Al. I stated that if there is a seed in the heavens or the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring it forth. On the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring even the smallest of deeds, even from the smallest weight of a mustard seed. And there's something hidden in your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's there. You may think no one saw you commit a bad deed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing and all-seeing. So He knows what you did. This is why you must repent or avoid doing any sort of bad deeds. So whenever we think about doing something bad, we should immediately try to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us, and that we'll be held accountable for all of our actions. And Ayah 18 of Surah Luqman tells his son about pride and arrogance. He says, "And do not turn your nose up to people, nor walk pridefully upon the earth." Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like whoever is arrogant, boastful. A teaching that Luqman told the son was to never walk pridefully on the earth. When we are arrogant, we do not think of what others say. We are too proud of ourselves and forget about others. Trying to act is as if you're better than everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks of every human being to be equal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like whoever is arrogant. He said like whoever is modest or humble. Luqman told his son to talk with a gentle and dignified tone, one that people like and want to listen to. But don't talk harshly, as it resembles the worst sound of all, donkeys. We should always try to speak in a low, gentle, and clear voice that allows others to listen to us easily. Whenever you speak loudly, you sound angry, which is not a very desirable trait at all. Not only should we not talk with a low voice, we should not talk with an angry voice, nor the one that sounds harsh. I hope that you all enjoyed my speech and learned about some of the pieces of advice that Luqman gave your son. I hope you are all able to apply whatever knowledge you may have gained from my speech to your own lives. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Muhammad Amis. Very nice. MashaAllah. Everyone of course reminded of there are beautiful advices in Surah Luqman. Again, about shirk, being nice, how we deal with people, talking softly, and avoiding being proud or arrogant. So those are all, I think, the things that you need to keep in mind all the time. So again, thank you. Now, actually, we are done with the intermediate level. We are now.
No, there's one more left. Jazal Hassan Jawad.
You're right. Yes. Jazal. I was going to skip you today. Sorry about that. Got it?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما. Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm here to talk about the topic Lessons from Surah Luqman. Surah Luqman was a Makki surah. It came down during the time when the suppression of the invitation to Islam began. It reminds us of the true value of Tawheed and of the absurdity of shirk. It also reminds us to approach the Prophet's teachings with a clear mind and see with open eyes the signs laid out in the universe, which bear evidence to its truth. Luqman alayhi salam was a wise man. Quoting him in the Quran proved to the people of Prophet Muhammad that the teachings of Islam were timeless and were preached by other wise men too. The surah opens with Allah's description of Al-Quran as the guidance and mercy for the good. The rest of the surah then narrates Luqman alayhi salam's advice to his son. Without further ado, let's look at some of the lessons from Surah Luqman. Number 1, you may be seen as lowly in the people's eyes, but you are important in Allah's sight. Number 2, have a close relationship with your children. Number 3, honor your parents. Number 4, there is no greater sin than shirk. Number 5, all actions are recorded. And finally, number 6, learn how to speak to people properly and improve your manners. Number 1, Luqman alayhi salam was a slave, which meant that he wasn't seen as important for the people, but he was important to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to mention him in the Quran because of his wisdom. In return, Allah asked Luqman alayhi salam to be grateful. Number 2, have a close relationship with your children. If you are a parent, have a very healthy relationship with your children so that you can guide them. The way Luqman alayhi salam calls his son, Ya Bunayya, shows the closeness. That adds such a gentle touch to the rest of Luqman alayhi salam's strong advice. Number 3, honor your parents. The lessons aren't all for the parents either. They're for us kids too. We should honor our parents. They went through a lot of hardship to raise us, and I mean a lot. Listen attentively and obey what they ask us to do, except shirk. But still, treat them kindly and with respect. Number 4, there is no greater sin than shirk. Luqman alayhi salam opens his advice to his son by saying, O my son, join not in worshipping others than Allah. Verily, worshipping others than Allah is the gravest of mistakes. Number 5, all actions are recorded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring everything forth on the day of resurrection, where it will be weighed on the scales of justice, and every person will be punished or rewarded accordingly. Luqman alayhi salam said, if there were a deed the weight of a mustard seed, be it in a well or in the heavens or the earth, Allah will bring it forth. For He is the most subtle, the all-aware. This shows that Allah will bring forth even the most tiniest deeds that the man has committed. Number 6, finally, learn how to speak to people properly and improve your manners. Luqman alayhi salam advises, and do not turn your cheek in contempt and walk through the earth exultantly. He goes on advising, and be moderate in your pace and lower your voice, as both are hateful to Allah. In conclusion, Luqman alayhi salam's advice is relevant even in the most modern times. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned his name in the Quran and associated it with wisdom. We should all try to learn the lessons that Luqman alayhi salam gave to his son and apply it to our daily lives. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for listening.
Jazam, thank you so much. I know I'm going to do one thing when I go home, inshallah. I'm going to read Surah Luqman again and again, inshallah. Lot of lessons in there, lot of advice. And thank you. Okay, so we are done with the intermediate. All this first done. That we're going to move to the last round. That is the advanced. And advanced is actually the older kids, mostly TAs. And first to start, we are gonna invite Abia Awais. Inshallah. Yeah, she's from MCC. Yeah, TA. Yes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri uqtatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Abia Awais Khan, a high school level 9th grader at MCC East May Sunday School. Today I will be addressing you guys about Islamophobia and how to deal with it. What is Islamophobia? A prejudice or dislike towards Muslim or Islam. Racism and hostility are directed towards its religion and its culture, especially as a political force. Just threats of violence, discrimination, insults towards Muslims wearing hijabs and their insults towards Muslims in public or online platforms. Discrimination towards women wearing their hijabs in schools or public platforms. These are only a few manifestations of Islamophobia. Discrimination in housing, employment, or in the ability to obtain such products and services, as well as statements made publicly by politicians and media are other examples. With all these factors obstructing the normalcy of our society in this community, we are at a point where it is necessary for us to know how to deal with these situations. In different situations, you can combat with Islamophobia in many different ways. First, in every challenging situation, never forget to ask Allah Almighty for His help. Suppose you are at school and you come across such an incident where you become a victim of Islamophobia. First, make sure the assailant is aware that you will not stay quiet and will fight them, and will not give them any leverage over you. If you are in a public place, call the police. Try to cause as much as commotion to yourself so you may have many witnesses to the incident. Generally, contact another organization to accumulate a report against Islamophobia. If you ever come across an incident where you become a witness of someone becoming a victim of Islamophobia, remember what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace be upon him, said, as per Sahih Muslim, Hadith number 49. Whoever among you sees evil, let him change it with his hands. If he's unable to do so, then with his tongue. And if he's unable to do so, then with his heart. And that is the poorest level of faith. Intervene and defend that individual. Let them know that you are there to help them. If you are unable to do so, then with your tongue, let others around you know that something might be going on with their actions. You may call the police and record the whole incident. Also, become a witness for that individual. I am a 9th grader at Boyle High School. Last year, I was an 8th grader at Thomas Hart Middle School.
And I remember that only a few girls used to wear their hijabs to school, including me. And a few guys last semester, in second semester, thought it was a good idea to pull off their hijabs and run away. I was not a victim of this, but someone I knew was, and it is horrifying to even think about going through such a difficult situation like this. Islamophobia can wreck someone's self-esteem. It can cause many mental health problems, which can create fear from others from expressing their religious identities. To elaborate, Islamophobia can cause the exclusion of Muslims. Someone I used to know was bullied so hard at one of their previous schools that for being a Muslim and wearing her hijab to school, that now she tries to go out of her way to exclude herself from her religion and her deen. This is why it is extremely important for us to know how to deal with these horrific situations, so we don't lose in touch with our deen, and to show others what Islam is about, the beauty and amazing culture of Islam. Thank you for listening. Jazakallah.
Thank you, Abia. Yeah, this is real. This is reality that we are living in. Again, we see evil. We can stop it with hand. We're encouraged to do that. If not with the tongue, at least with the tongue. So thank you. Thank you for the good reminders there. We're good with the, okay, so we'll move on to the next one from the advanced level from MCA Ibrahim.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Ibrahim Muhammad from MCA Weekend Islamic School. And I would like to begin today with the issue of confidence relating to Islamophobia. Specifically, I'll be going over how to correctly confront Islamophobia in schools. Just like speaking in front of all of you today, one must get over the fear and consequences of responding to Islamophobia in our American society. This is dangerous because of how the media portrays Muslims and the un-Islamic acts of self-proclaimed Muslims. But by ignoring the backlash and saying true to our deen, we can reaffirm faith in our heart. But how do we do this? One key principle for confronting Islamophobia is sabr, or patience. Not too long ago, I was in middle school, and we had a cultural dress-up day. Me and my friend, Omar, decided to wear thobes. Keep in mind, this is a public school. As I entered campus, I recall all eyes were on us, until one of my non-Muslim friends, let's call him Jeff, came up to me and called me stuff like bomber and other Islamophobic slurs. I played it off as a joke then, but now I realize students like Jeff are slowly getting conditioned to become Islamophobic because of ignorance towards recognizing true Islam. And this reluctancy to learn about other religions is prominent in some Muslims too. So go, when you have the luxury, go learn about other religions and use it to reaffirm, to assert Islam in your heart. Maintaining sabr is crucial in our schools relating to virtually everything, because without staying calm and collected, we are supporting claims against us, such as Muslims being aggressive, and pose ourselves as the oppressor, not the victim. This importance of patience is supported by Allah's promise to believers in Surah Ar-Rum, ayah 60, which goes, "So be patient, surely Allah's promise is true, and let not the disbeliever shake your firmness." Moving on, any Muslim anywhere is obligated to responsibly represent proper Islam in each respective society, especially Muslim minorities. This is not a choice because once surrounded by others, we as Muslims influence our perspective on Muslim behavior, which can lead to change, either good or bad. For example, I remember watching a video not so long ago about a former US Marine named Richard McKenney who plotted to blow up an Islamic center in the city of Munz. I recall a sense of calm, appreciation, and pride when McKinney changed his intentions and became Muslim, then later president of the Islamic Center. Ignorant to it at the time, I now realize that these feelings came from a proper representation of Muslims. One more example of proper Muslim representation that I've seen was when I first entered high school. My school offers a week in the beginning of each semester called Club Rush, where essentially you get to pick which clubs you want to be in for the rest of the semester. And yeah, there are many offered each day of the week. I remember on around the third or second day, there was a club that got my interest called the MSA, the Muslim Student Association, which my sister, who has been in high school 2 years before me, told me about. I remember watching as I saw non-Muslims approach, and as the MSA, the people at the stand, they welcomed them. After seeing this, it inspired me to become a better Muslim and not be afraid to represent my Islamic culture at my school regularly. This changed me for the good, and I hope to see a day in the future where Muslims can feel included and have a good reputation like so. This is why it's important to address the harassment and cultivation of fear on campuses for Muslim students before it is too late. Abdullah ibn Amr reported in Musnad Imam Ahmed that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Blessed are the strangers," and in another narration, they are those who reform the people when they become corrupt. Both of these hadiths are rated sahih or authentic. These hadiths tell me how we, the strangers, Muslims, are blessed with the opportunity to righteously represent our faith to the majority corrupt. This is why by being the best Muslims we can help avoid Islamophobia for future generations of students and in our society. That will be all from me for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, Ibrahim. Overcoming the fear. I think that says it a lot, especially the kids in the high school and even colleges. And then, sabr, how we can deal with the things with sabr. And these are, I think, very hard times for the kids when you are going through. I think some of the examples that he gave were very powerful, right? And we pray to Allah that we overcome these type of things and make the society better. Okay, so with that, next one, I think we have two left. Actually, before I forget, after these two, we will announce the winners. And after the winners, we do have some refreshments in the cafeteria. There's a tea, some samosas, and some other things. Now, I think by the time we're done, we probably have door time, so we may have to go there after door time. Okay, so the next one here, we have Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin's from MCC.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today I would like to give a talk on how to deal with Islamophobia in schools. Islamophobia is the prejudice or dislike towards Muslims and Islam. In the 1900s, Arabs and European Muslims immigrated to the United States looking for better economical opportunities. A few years later, President Nixon changed some laws about immigration which shed a negative light upon Arabs and Muslims. The conflict and hate really started after the attacks of 9/11, which led a lot of hostility and racism towards Muslims.
Now, 22 years later, it still persists and has escalated again during Donald Trump's presidency. According to CARE, 53% of Muslim students reported have been bullied or verbally abused due to exposing their Islamic identity in California. Personally, alhamdulillah, I've not had any Islamophobic experiences, but rather they were positive. For instance, when my friends asked me to eat a burger during lunch, I replied I could not do so, as it was not halal and they did not mind it much and respected my beliefs. But I found out there are students being harassed or bullied, particularly with the female students who choose to wear hijab in schools. As Quran, there is no single solution in tackling Islamophobia, but rather we should stick to our deen, follow the seerah of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As the Quran says in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 155, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَجُوعٍ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Surely we shall test you with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, property, lives, and crops, but give glad tidings to those who steadfast. Fear and anxiety is the most common response to Islamophobia, and many students choose to hide their Islamic identity. But this will never solve Islamophobia, and it will continue to exist. As the Quran says in Surah 25, verse 63, when an ignorant person addresses a believer, the believer is to reply peace. As we all know, the root cause for discrimination against others is ignorance. We have to become clear representatives of Islam, such as being polite, kind, truthful, sincere, and smiling when we see others as per the Sunnah. The views of people tend to change. We see a contrast between their view of Islam and the Muslim students. But this cannot happen unless we educate ourselves of the deen through the deen and seerah of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Here are some practical steps to tackle Islamophobia in schools. 1. Involving in community services and voicing out any discrimination, not just Islamophobic, and representing the Muslim community. 2. Building clubs in our schools. My school has a Muslim Student Association Club through which we can spread awareness. 3. Having parent-teacher associations with greater contributions from the Muslim parents, which will change the perspective of the Muslim community. High school is pretty hectic and we get caught up in academics, but we should strive to be a part of leadership roles and influence the school administration positively. We have to build strong communities of Muslim students across the schools connected to the local masjids. This will provide the students a support group to reach out to when they're being discriminated or harassed, and every Muslim student should volunteer for it. Nu'man B. Bashir reported Prophet ﷺ said, "The parable of the believers in their affection, compassion, and mercy is that of a body. When one limb aches, the whole body replies with sleeplessness and fever." As I conclude, I would like to remind the Islamophobia we are facing is nothing compared to the Islamophobia our Sahaba radiallahu anhu who faced in their times. The story of Taif is a great example when the Prophet replied in a firm but dignified manner as he was being humiliated and mocked. But today we see that Taif is a beautiful Muslim city. There is always hope in our faith, no matter how dire the situation may be. As a teenager, I believe we need to make greater contributions and build communities to tackle Islamophobia in schools and change the perspective of Islam across schools.
Thank you, Muhyiddin. I don't know, 53% of the people experience in some way or form, based on this test that he said, Islamophobic.
Schools, yes.
That's wow, that's a huge number. In the lesson, when an ignorant person talks to you, just say peace. Very powerful. response. Okay, we have a last speaker coming up. Last but not the least and the best. And he already knows Sharaf Qazi. Sharaf is from MCA, very regular. I see him every Sunday. And unfortunately, he had some accident yesterday. So you're okay to let the music begin?
You can just, I don't know, you can like, yeah. Yeah, you can like clip it there or something. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Sharaf Qazi. I'm one of the teacher assistants at WIS. And today I'm here to give a speech addressing Islamophobia and how to go about dealing with the problem. So let me just start off by saying that Islamophobia is a problem in schools that is starting to become very serious. And it is important that we address and fix it in order to create a safe and inclusive environment for all of our students, including our fellow Muslims. So from my experience, Islamophobia can manifest in like many different forms, from little things like subtle hints and microaggressions to things like mindless hate speech to outright active discrimination. The impact can be severe, leading students to have feelings of isolation, low self-esteem, poor academic performance, and more. Therefore, it is crucial for schools to take an initiative to combat Islamophobia. As a student, you can help prevent this problem by calling out and and reporting those who are discriminating against other Muslims. So a couple weeks ago, I was at like my middle school and I was eating lunch when all of a sudden I heard an argument on the other side of the bleachers where I normally sit. So this one person basically said like a racial slur to like another person, and the 9 or 10 other people that were sitting there all get really angry, and they start lecturing this person, which is good, you know, because you shouldn't be saying racial slurs. Now keep in mind that this person knows that I'm Muslim, all right? So I walk up to this person, I ask him why he said it, and he basically just jokingly asked if I was gonna bomb his house, you know, as punishment or something. Now this is the problem because none of the other people none of the other people said a word about this person indirectly calling me a terrorist, even though it had nothing to do with the attacks of September 11th, a single day that happened a long time ago that many people used to discriminate against us today. It's like people don't have any right to like say these kinds of things to us. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade us from saying these kinds of things to others. He even said in Surah Al-Mumtahana, Ayah 8, Allah does not forbid you from dealing kindly and fairly with those who have neither fought nor driven you out of your homes. Surely Allah loves those who are fair. Now, before I move on to the lesson of this ayah, I feel that it is important that I mention like, you know, what to do if you end up in like a similar kind of situation that I mentioned. So if you do end up in a spot like this, then I think the best course of action is to walk up to the person and tell them in a calm but firm voice that what they said is absolutely not true, and that what they said is just some hurtful and like, you know, unjustified Islamophobic slur. If they still don't stop after that, then it's best you report them. This actually ties pretty well with the lesson that with like my interpretation about the ayah, which is that I feel that we should like report those, like we should confront and report those who are harassing us. However, we most kindly and justly respect those that are discriminating against us, even if they're not Muslim. Now Now, this is important. I believe that schools should create and enforce a zero tolerance policy for any kind of bigotry, including Islamophobia. This means taking immediate action when some sort of incident occurs and holding students accountable for their actions. It also means providing support for students who have been victims of Islamophobia. This can be done by having a specific staff member, like a dedicated counselor, for example, who deals with such issues, as well as providing training to the rest of the workforce
on how to recognize Islamophobia. I can't tell you just how many times I've tried to report Islamophobia, only for the teacher on duty to think that whoever said the slur, just to play it off as a joke. So finally, and I'll wrap up with this. I strongly believe in involving the community in combating Islamophobia by reaching out to local Muslim organizations and leaders for Islamic resources, as well, as well as involving the community in school initiatives. So I think NCA has done a great implementation of this, which they call Ramadan Open House. Basically, what they do is that they'll invite the non-Muslim community. They'll invite the non-Muslim community to learn about Islam and its history, culture, and practices. So I feel that if schools do something similar to this, then the people, the community and the people, this includes students too. I feel that they'll be quicker to drop negative stereotypes against us. So in conclusion, Islamophobia is a serious problem that must be stopped now. There's a hadith that that Sahih al-Bukhari narrated where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had this to say about taking action against evil. Whoever among you sees an evil, let him change it with his hand by taking action. If he cannot, then with his tongue by speaking up. If he cannot, then with his heart. So with this in mind, I feel that we must speak up, create a zero tolerance policy, and involve and educate the entire community on Islam and how to deal with Islamophobia. I believe that if we do all of these things, we can create a safe and inclusive environment where all students, including Muslims, feel valued and respected, and where diversity and faith is celebrated and not ridiculed. Jazakallah khairan everyone for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Sharaf. You were right on time actually, at the last second. So we're going to break for Dwar very quickly. Excellent. I think I'm going to come back and make some comments afterwards. But so we have the 4. Yes, we have 5. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with. So we have 4. Everyone is going to get something. So we'll start with Hafsa.
Are we starting bottom up?
Yes, bottom up.
Okay.
4th place, Hafsa. 3rd place, Shiza. And 2nd place, Laiba. And the big prize goes to Faizan. And then for the juniors, first prize was $100, second was $75, and third one was $50, and fourth one is not here, but there's something.
You'll find out. Congratulations. Oh, I'm getting good.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much. You can go back to your.
Which level are you going to?
Next one is the intermediate. So intermediate, Jaza, Zainab, and Muhammad Amish.
Do we have all 4? We do. Okay, awesome.
All right.
There you go. Okay.
So I'm going to start with again 4th place, Muhammad Amish. 3rd place, Zainab. 2nd place, Jaza.
Jaza, right? J-A-Z-A?
Jaza Abbas.
Yeah.
That was the 2nd place, right? Yeah. 1st place, Jazal Ihsan.
Congratulations, Jared. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Okay, senior level. Okay, it's Maggie here. Okay, Raya, Ayman, and Mohammed Ehsan.
Yes, Ayman had to leave.
Yeah, Ayman had to leave. Okay, all right. Okay, so the fourth place, Mohammed Ehsan. Third place, Ayman. Ayman is not here, so we will they will get here. Between number 1 and 2, second place, ready, Rayan. And the first place, Mehdi Sigdar.
Congratulations. Really well. We'll come back again. Make it happen.
Thank you. Okay, the last one now, the advanced level. Sharaf, Qazi, Muhyiddin, Tawfiq, Ibrahim, and Abia Awais. All right. So we're going to start from, actually we have a tie here at the third place. Yeah. There's a good question. So we'll change it right now. We'll give.
We'll give it to them that we get.
So tie in the third place. The first one. Yeah. Yeah. So Abia Awais. And the second, and the third place is the second person, Ibrahim. And second place, Muhyiddin Tawfiq. And the person who said he was not ready when he came is Sharaf Qazi, number 1. Very good. Everybody won. Everybody won. I think I learned a lot. Keep it up. So many beautiful advices. And Mamta, if you can just do some closing remarks. I'm going to ask Mamta to do closing remarks. After that, let's go to the cafeteria. There's some snacks. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There's a lot that I can say in this moment, but I will say Mubarak and congratulations to all the competitors and their parents for this extremely hard work that you have done and you continue to do to look after your children. May Allah reward you and bless you. The only thing I will say in my, do you want to say?
Sorry.
Okay. Let me just do the closing remarks and then they can do it and then I'll do the dua at the end. Yes. Alhamdulillah. The only thing I will say is that spend as much time as you can with your children. That's it. That's really all I'm going to say to you, and make your life about them and forgive them their shortcomings. This is just, if they make mistakes, parents, I'm not talking to the kids, I'm talking to the parents. Parents, if your kids make mistakes, learn to forgive them and don't ever excommunicate them. Now, your children are still younger, so you don't know what this means. But when they get into high school and then later on in college, don't ever forget this, that do not ever excommunicate your children. But may Allah bless you and reward you and continue to inspire us all, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.